Good afternoon, family. Welcome, JT Better Than Ever. Um, Welcome to my channel, The Underrated Darkness. Um, Very important topic. The voiceless ones, the good and the bad. Let's discuss it now. Before I go into that, let me hit that. Sorry for the inconvenience. If you want to know more about me, go to my Facebook page, yours truly, Jerry Thomas. Also, I have a Facebook group, all in caps, at JTMVP, Thinking for Ourselves. Also, I have a Twitter account, also all in caps, at JT Blackman44, and also my Instagram account, lower caps, The Underrated Darkness. Also, I'm in this joint business venture with my brother Ernest Jones. It's AnsAllToys.com. We through our social media, wherever you purchase, you get 10% off. Use my code lower caps MVP. Check it out. AnsAllToys.com. We through our social media. Money come back in our community, black owned. Check us out. I supposed to do some Ernest Jones interview, but he be going through a lot. So stay tuned for that. I'm plugging in on that. I'm interviewing the brother in the future, so watch out for that. Did not forget about it and everything. Okay, let me see what else. Also, I have an underrated sports show with my brother Chief Stay Sleep. That's every Monday, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Join that, the Underrated Sports Show, on this channel. My brother co-host Chief Stay Sleep. So watch out for that. Also, I'll be doing a midterm elections this coming November of our perspective. So family, this is now never midterm elections. So many of us, let's just check it out, sacrifice that night, watch it thoroughly tonight. And like I said, I know it's politics is boring. I can understand that, but I'm gonna be eating my dinner. Plus, I'm gonna do whatever I can. The charge the laptop up so we all could join together. It's gonna be MSNBC. MSNBC, that's channel. Turn it on so we could all join together. I'm gonna have different people on the panel all that night. So stay tuned. Let's sacrifice and let's find out what's going on, the legislation in our community around this USA. Okay, so y'all got that information. Welcome to Hidden Treasure Entertainment. My brother my nephew Emmanuel. I'm going to talk. Like I said, you see the title, The Voiceless Ones, the good and the bad. Let's discuss it. Because there's a good side and there's a bad side. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna like hook up some people. So anybody want to join the panel? You want to join the panel? My sister, you feel more than welcome. You could drop your email inside the chat, and I'd be more than happy. To get to you and everything. So I'm trying to encourage more other sisters to come on the platform. Come on the panel because your voice is greatly needed. It's greatly needed. So why I got this conversation up is because for a long time, we as a people is forgetting. Okay, got you. And we as a people, we forgetting us as a people, some of us as a people, that we be voicing the truth, but we not being heard, and we be around people that trying to close our message. And I'm gonna go more on that. And so, and also you got the bad side too, when you got egotistical motherfuckers, excuse my language, in our community that have these resources, and at the same time they do not want to talk for us. They don't want to help out the one that is less fortunate. And we're going to get more into that too. So sit back and relax. Check this out. And let me see, let me get this out the way. Let me close this up a little bit. Let's see. See people on the parent. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. Shout out to Sugar Bay. Thanks for coming. Go to people and stuff like that. But we have to define, you know, which side that we want to be on of the voices. Because there's people do take sides. There are some people that sometimes don't know. That is true. But I'm talking about, we're going to get into that too. We're going to get into that too. And for me, it's always, hold on, family. And so for that, you know, I'll put out this. Oh, no, Liv, thank you so much, my sister. Thank you so much. And we have some people that have all this knowledge, that have all this information. And I'm not saying debate is good. Debate, you gotta, debate is good as long as it's constructional, it's good. But when it start getting past that, I know more than you know more than me, and the ones that really need the knowledge to help prepare us to make our liberation strong of our people globally, that is a problem. And we have to understand that we have to get back of the teachings of our scholars back in the past. See, they talk to all of us. They talk to all of us globally and throughout humanity. They don't care what status they in. See, this is we're gonna touch on status too, because that is very important. And I talk about status lately and stuff like that with other lives and stuff. I want y'all to check that out too. But when we let status get in the way of educating the voices, when I'm talking about the ones that really needs the meat of knowledge, and then some of us take a thinking, no, they don't need that. I'm gonna give it to ones that already have. But also, when they refuse to think of themselves as teachers, think of themselves as humanity, that's when it gets lost. That's when it gets lost. Shout out to my brother Dark Skills. Thanks for coming earlier. My sister Sugar Bay. Cat PY to the 2. Thanks for coming. IC, thanks for coming and everything. Anybody want to join the panel, let me know. Doesn't make a difference who it is. Just join, but just be respectable. But get back, what I'm saying is, when are we going to call these people out? Miss Danielle, thanks for coming. Very much appreciated. When are we going to call these people out? The ones withholding this information that's going to help us. Like most of these politicians, that most of these clergymen, I'm talking about the clergymen in our community. I'm talking about some people who run the community centers, churches, etc. They have all this information, but they withholding that, and they want to hold it and give it to the elite, that the same ones that do not want us to be part of humanity. While we suffer in the streets, while brothers killing each other, while we hurting our sisters, sisters hurting our brothers. There's no resources coming in our community. And then we have to get nothing but goddamn crumbs. And I know it's going to be peace of my brother, J. Quad Thomas. Thanks for coming. Then we always blame the people, but we never blame the ones who have these resources. You know how it is. You go on to get help, to help your family or help yourself. They look at you like, I don't need to be, but they fail to realize you serving our community. People think, oh yeah, they're not understanding you follow this devilish elite mindset. Mimi Dog, thanks for coming. I'm going to get to the panel. I'm going to hook up the panel in a few minutes. But the thing about this that we have to understand, I'm going to get to you with a few seconds, Dog Skills. I got you. And what we fail to realize, Zeus the Flipper One, thank you so much. That we fail to realize that we losing time. Time don't wait for us in humanity, especially in our community. We losing time. When we losing time, we losing timeless resources. Also, we losing the voiceless ones, and they can continue to float away. And then we wonder why are they in this certain rut? Now, some of them, in a small percentage, we can blame them. But a lot of it, I'm not going to blame them. Because we now holding out, I'm talking about us, we now holding out in to create resources, to create hope. And that is the problem. We letting gender war get between us as melanin people. Because, see, I understand how they play this game. See, they play this game talking about multicultural or this and that or humanity. I could define humanity, but I also could define our people. And our people is hurting. So my fight is against white supremacy. Now, I'm not talking about, oh yeah, you want to battle. Now, I'm talking about the mindset, the symbol, and the legislation. That's what I'm talking about. This oppressed system is holding us back from doing the right thing. And some of us as a people, we letting it happen. So when you see like us as a people, not talking about the people in the chat, because the people in the chat, you know what I'm talking about. You are good. And each of y'all play a big part to impact our community. So I'm not talking about you. Y'all good. But I'm talking about the ones outside. What are you bringing to the table to help out the voiceless ones? Why? And then you fail to realize when you don't bring the information to the voiceless, you become voiceless yourself for our people. But you become a voice to elite that the ones keep on impressing us of their legislation and their ways for centuries. So today, I'm gonna have people come on the panel, and women, our sisters, I want you to join. I want y'all to join because we want the output from our sisters too. But that's the problem. See, I've been part of this conscious community somewhat since '85. I see the come and goes. I see the high point and I see the low point. And the sad thing, the low point for a long time, because it's talking about like I create this type, like I create this topic. The voiceless ones, the good and the bad. Let's discuss it now. Well, we have to discuss it. We have to meet this head on. We cannot just let it go by anymore. This fuck boy shit, this fag, wherever you call it, they got that's part of the community. Nah, there's protocol to this. And what it's doing, it just peel off the goodness of the gaining knowledge that we need to have. Nikki, thanks for coming. Greatly appreciated. So we let the badness of the voiceless one pop up because when you know this is how people is. See, this is how some people, us as a people, we are. See, we let people, dumbed us out and everything, and they pull the badness of themselves out because they know that we dumb them, we follow it. But what about them? Because part of it be part of the voiceless ones. That why some of our voices is not being taught about, because we're not hanging around the ones that is willing to fight, that is willing to talk up the voiceless ones. We want to be around the ones, they just want to be quiet. So in their own way, they the voiceless ones, but in a bad sense. And also, sometimes we could become the voiceless ones. We could be in the bad situation without knowing either. We have to define that too. Individually. Let's get the lights up. Thank you very much appreciated. Subscribe to yours truly, The Underrated Darkness. Like I said, I'm gonna bring some more people to the panel in a few. I already got my brother Dark Skills. I'm definitely gonna hit you up any second now. But the question that we need to ask: when? Mary Ford, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Thanks for showing. Thank you. When is the time? No, let me rewind back. Are we willing to stick up to the voiceless ones that is less fortunate? Or are we just going to stay quiet and let this oppressed system dominate our mindset and living? Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the panel. I'm going to add more people to the panel. People, my brother Dollar to the Scales, thanks for coming, my brother.
No doubt, bro. Peace to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to what you're saying, and let me say this: peace to the chat. Of course, peace to your platform. People support the Underrated Darkness. You know, you've been a good brother. Sheep Stay Sleep is a good brother of mine, and the connection is real. And if I say this to you, to the topic, first our people lack a lot of education in a lot of ways, and then outside of education, we gotta define certain terms and meanings in order to come to an understanding to make certain changes. So when you have certain people that are voiceless, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not active. And then at the same time, when people are speaking, it doesn't always mean that they're speaking something that is going to be fruitful. So in breaking it down from a Black liberation standpoint, I think what we're seeing going on in society today is classism. And when I say that, I'll try to make it simple. They have us socially engineered to look at things based off classes, like a license. You got a Class A license for truck drivers, and then most people would get like a Class D license. And when you look at those different classes and those modes of operation, you can then start to apply it to what you were talking about in regards to the separation, where you have small groups of people hiding or keeping information from larger groups of people. And that starts with social engineering first. And when I say social engineering, I'll define it as such. Basically, through Social Security, they've created areas where they've grouped different classes of people together. For instance, you have what we all call a Black community. And then when you look at places like Harlem, you see the gentrification where the so-called white man has come in, and now a lot of the Black-owned businesses, the small few that were there, are no longer there, and the Blacks are being pushed out of states like New York and into southern states. So a lot of that has to do with social engineering, the ability to take people's commercial interests via their Social Security cards and make sure through labor that they live in certain areas. So now once we start to break and dissect that down, we can get into the different classes that involve citizenship, nationality, and all of those different topics that can help lend to the topic of why some people are voiceless and why some people have a voice, but it's not necessarily hitting home and getting any real change going.
Yeah, that's excellent points, my brother. That's what I want to get into, my brother, because I think that sometimes they are, like I said, there's hidden jewels in our community, and they are even hidden jewels, you know, in education and other resources that we not picking up and stuff like that. And so for me, you know, I always want to get into this topic because, like I said, we losing time, and for me, I appreciate your bill. I appreciate your existence and stuff like that. But I want to ask you a question, my brother Dollar Skills. I always want to answer this. How do some of us define the bad about the voiceless ones? Let me go into that, because there's sometimes that if we not trained to find out what the good ones of the voice are, the bad ones, I give you cases, because see, I probably don't know it all. I probably don't know it all, but it probably some information right there, right? But at the same time, if I don't train myself, if I don't be around people that help me define for what it is, ain't no good use. So I want you to explain that to us, please, my brother.
Well, I mean, when it comes to your question, that could be broad. It depends on what one considers good and bad. Now, if you're speaking about it from a quote unquote Black perspective, I think it would be anything that tries to suppress our labor output. And when I say that, that involves certain aspects of taxation by other races of people, meaning that within the Black community, most of our dollars don't circulate amongst each other. Right. So what would be a bad voice? Someone who speaks out against the Black community or manipulates things through white supremacy in order to keep our people down. I mean that's the most general sense, but that's a broad statement because that can go in a lot of directions. One, we have to define who we are, what group we consider ourselves to be, and then what would be in our best interest before we define whose voices are good or bad. So, like, if you broke that down a little more for me, maybe I could be more specific.
Well,
But
it could be broader. It could be broader. I'm just throwing it out there, my brother. You just take it away.
yeah, nah, because some people may look at integration as a bad thing, meaning that is it generally good for our people to care about other people that's outside of our race in order to preserve our own. Then now we start to get into paradigms and spirituality, meaning that I have my own opinion that you can't preserve home unless you're willing to preserve another's, like the karma issue. So now when we're talking about uplifting our people, if we're trying to define them as black people, then we have to first look at how we can do that, but still maintain a somewhat status quo where other people are preserved. Because then now we're talking about black supremacy. So it depends on,
Right.
what direction that you want to take the conversation. Because again, I can get into socialism, classism, racism, and then we can start to agree on what some of these terms mean so that we can better navigate the conversation. Because based on education, people have different variations for meanings of words. And this is where, like, for me personally, I study things like Black's Law and different terminologies and definitions that the commercial supremacists believe words mean when I'm applying most of what I'm saying.
Right.
Whereas to the person that was only educated maybe through basic kindergarten through 12th grade, or even low levels of higher learning college, they might not agree because they don't necessarily understand what these terms are defined by white supremacy to mean.
Right.
So application is the key when we're dealing with all of these topics. How are we applying it? What groups are we talking about? Who is our people? And all of those different things. So definitely in the general sense, so I don't lose the people and not answer your question. People who use bad voices to me are people who are about undermining any group of people for any reason that does not reflect them trying to kill, harm, or cause physical injury to another. That's bad to me. When you're trying to hold or oppress a people down based on labor, commerce, physical, sexual, all of those things are on the table. That's bad. So there's a lot of people who are out here speaking for certain groups secretly in order to bring our people down and to continue to molest our communities. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm go more on your point that I think for me, when I was growing up, I have to understand about the Voiceless one. I had to, at one time, I was thinking about the regional mindset. I felt, I had to really retrain myself to thinking about the bigger picture. That there is a bigger picture that we need to understand about the good, but the good about the voices and the bad. And then so I had to be in alignment to be with the good, and just as it's gonna, and sometimes you're gonna suffer, but the point is that for me, all I have to talk for me is that I want to be in alignment with our people. I want to be in line whatever it takes to uplift our people. And that was a good point that you told me. We have to broaden the conversation about the politics, the commerce and stuff. So people, I want to urge y'all, let's get more in contact with what's going on, even the politics, because the politics got much layers on it too. That's why, like, when I do past live streams about politics lately, I'm trying to bring much layers on it, because there are sometimes that the mainstream media is not talking about what really was going on, especially in our community, even globally. So I urge people about the Voices was and the good and the bad. Instead of we talk about just the United States, let's understand. Let's talk about the global commerce. Let's talk about the global what's going on and everything, because it plays hand in hand what's going on and everything. So let's learn what my brother Don Skills talking about and everything, and it's very, very important. It is very, very important that we have to learn from each other. we have to understand. We have to take the time. We have to take the time to soak up this truthful meat. We have to understand that, and I think that we would be on our way, you know, to help the Voiceless ones, because I know where I live at, you know, Dollar Skills in Virginia. There's people say, oh, there's no black people doing, but there's a whole lot of black people is doing the work, but they not getting noticed at. But it's okay though, because if we understand how the system works and everything, we will be cool with that. So, but it doesn't mean don't stop, but just keep on going. So that's why when I do cooking, I had conversation, because it's all see part of me doing cooking and also having the fellowship. That's part of being the Voiceless one too, because we don't do that anymore. So I'm bringing that back. So in my own part of different layers of what the underrated darkness is doing, I try to limit the Voiceless ones so I could be in tune with that. So trying to impact us as a people, trying to impact us of what the necessary steps that we need to do in the past, and we could bring it to present. And so our kids will understand what important is of the Voiceless ones, of the good and the bad. And so you can talk more about that, Dollar Skills. I'm gonna go get me something to drink because brother man's thirsty.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like I was saying, I think the first step to making any moves is to brainstorm. Like me being in the music business and being a writer, a composition writer, every time that I would put my thought process to a pen and a pad to write music, I would always brainstorm first. So in brainstorming, the first thing that I would throw inside the pot is education. Like if you're trying to form any kind of coalition on any level, the people have to be educated and they have to reach a common goal and an agreement for what we're trying to achieve. So by calling in people to speak is a good thing, but then now it's like, okay, what system of education are we going to use in our administration to push forth our goals? Like for me, for instance, in my travels and studying and all of them things, looking at back to what I was saying earlier, first, our people got to be educated, if we're talking commerce, on what class is and what nationality is and what citizenship is and all of these different terms and topics, because commercially we're not going to win unless we understand the politics of the Internal Revenue Service, right?
Right.
So now that to the average person, I just might have flew way over your head. I started talking about nationality, politics, Internal Revenue Service. But again, if we're trying to achieve or lift ourselves out of the commercial position that we're in politically, we have to first educate ourselves on what these things are. And then we have to agree to what they are so that we can have a unified push towards liberation, as they would say. Now, that's just the commercial side. If we take it to the agricultural side, some people don't want to get involved with politics. Some people might want to take it back to the ways of their ancestor and get a big plot of land and go do farming and things of that nature. So then now we have to re-educate our people on how to tend to the land and the soil, because our people have been taken away from that knowledge. Most people don't even know how to care or tend for plants. It's something that most of our people don't even do anymore as a collective. So again, on the natural side, some people want to just get back to the ways of the old, living in peace and tranquility with their farms and amongst their people. Then you have others that want to go more forward towards this technologically advanced world and get more into commerce. But the first step is education. Because if we don't educate ourselves and if we don't form our coalitions behind unified agreements on what words mean and how they're going to be applicable when trying to achieve these goals with other countries and nations and groups that are in the current marketplace, then we're not going to be able to achieve anything. We're just going to keep on talking in circles.
Right.
But this is a good step because let me say this. And I do a lot of this, as you know, with Israel doctrine.
Right.
Info activism is the #1 way to make change in this modern world of technology. Having a show like yours, like Israel Doctrine, Sheep Stay Sleep, and lending your voice and your platform and your internet connection to people like me and other people who have knowledge is the #1 way in this technological world to get things done through guerrilla marketing and info activism. So
Yes.
I commend you for that. So by having these discussions, we're planting seeds, which
Right.
later will grow and germinate in other YouTubers, people in the chat, and people who listen to the show later. So it's all relative to the topic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate your compliment. I really do. I really appreciate comment. See, that's what it's all about, brother. You know, I have to understand. I cannot let the voiceless in within me to stop me to present the information that I learned for myself. Also, that could be bad too when we holding ourselves. We don't think of us as a human being. We don't think ourselves as a purpose. You know what I'm saying? And we become voices ones within ourselves, and we killing ourselves, we killing dreams, we killing our purpose for ourselves, especially. And at the same time, we do not advocate for ourselves as a people too. I'm talking about for ourselves. And then until we understand that, and then we come in form like I'm doing now, and you doing now, and the rest of the people in the chat, that's when we could build something, you know, because that's the one thing I have to understand too, that you could know certain things, but if you're not willing to speak up, if you're not willing to put yourself out there, if you hang around people that is negative, no, you don't need to be this. Let's keep it in mind ourselves. It doesn't mean nothing. That means you not growing. You become the voices ones. That means you close your own mouth. And I refuse to close my own mouth. That person had to wait because I told this person give me a call an hour ago and they I'm on the road here. So that's what it's all about. Because see, when we close our mind, see, people, we have to understand too, when we close our mindset, that means we close our mouth. That means that whatever we need to know, it's gonna fly it's gonna be fly right past us. And then when we see the other people get it, and then they start growing, we want to know why we ain't getting it, because we not putting the necessary steps to get out the voices ones. Now the ones that don't know, those are the ones we work with. But those are the ones who's not willing to put up the information as you talk about dollar skills.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like for me, I look at it like this. You could speak 1,000 words and say nothing, but I'm more like the Zen. I'm more like Zen Buddha with it, where it's like you could speak one powerful word and it can change the masses. And then it's a beauty or balance between the two, because you could also speak a lot of words and say something powerful. The
Right.
key to me is, first, like I said, once we educate our people, the next step would be finding out what was people's talents, which is another term that could be bust into a million directions depending on what people consider talent. But generally, when I say talent, I mean what are they good at? What are their gifts? What can they lend? Because sometimes it's the people who are voiceless that are the most powerful. And I think you're speaking to that in the sense that sometimes those voiceless people that are powerful need to speak because they are powerful.
Right.
But then at the same time, everybody should be involved, meaning that if speaking is not your thing, we might be able to still utilize that person if we can tap into what their talents are and what they're good at. So like having both, to me, is a part of the bigger picture, because looking at it from the general standpoint, you're lending your voice right now and you're changing the world just with a live stream. But then the people in the chat, they might not be using their voice, so to speak, but they're typing little different things,
Right.
and the chat's going to play back, and it all is relative to how we can reach the goal of what I think you're trying to say in the general sense, liberation of our people from being oppressed and not being able to grow politically, economically, commercially, and all of those things relative. So yeah, I mean that's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Not to take away from what you said. It's just yeah.
Right. I understand. No. I get what you're saying, guys. Because see, that first I want to start from the liberation of people, but at the same time, I want this conversation to broaden because we just cannot just leave it just one channel. You know what I mean? It's got to be broadened out. So I appreciate you bringing these points out because you know that's what I want. I don't want to just do lies on this and just stick on one point and all that like that. And but there are other information that is broadly that we need to eat. You hear what I'm saying? And that's my thing is that it's all about let's bring the humanity to this topic that I created. That's what it's all. It can start from us, right? Liberation of our people, no doubt about it. But let it be broadened out. That's what I want. And sometimes when we keep it, like I said before, when we keep it regional within ourselves or regional to a certain class of people, we not growing. I want this to grow. And it had nothing to do with underrated dogs. It's all about you. It ain't all about underrated dogs. It's about us as a people to create this broader mindset. Have a clarification of the voices was of the good and the bad. And we have to have a broader mindset, the broader feeling. So we could define what's the two. We could define what situation we're in. We could define who we want to help or not to help. And that's what I'm coming from. And that's excellent points you make. Excellent points you talk about, Don Stills, because that's what I'm searching for. That's what I want.
Well, yeah. Now, see, now let me show you. Then you have the organic side, the natural side, and then you have the commercial side of that. Like, for instance, greater minds. Like, you could just say that term. Like, how do we turn greater minds into capital? Well, we incorporated Greater Minds LLC. What does Greater Minds do? It takes different people's ideas and it puts it into a melting pot and offers services. Right. That's the commercial side. Or you could just say it like you said it and let it go out in the universe and do what it does organically. And then people hear it and it sparks them to use their greater mind to do things. But like I said, it depends on how you want to attack it. What I would lend to it is things of that nature. All right, if you saying it, how could we turn it into a commercial interest that could be beneficial for the people that we're trying to liberate, so to speak, or trying to bring up to a higher class? Or you could say, I just want to do it that way. Like I said, for me, I'll give another example. YouTube is, I would say, you guys' thing, though I'm on YouTube, I didn't never really look at wanting to go live from the channel. I had told Sheep Stay Sleep that. I'll lend to certain panels like your own, but I support you guys in the chat, and that's my community service. I didn't look at making it into a monetary thing, but I damn sure will build with some brothers and try to help with some of the knowledge I have to help them monetize their ideas based on certain knowledge that I have commercially, or if you want to take it to the agriculture, or if you want to try to set up ways that we can have agreements for learning centers and build with different people. I'm all for that. But that's just what I can lend to the situation. That's me lending my voice to the platform. But me, I like to be the guy in the council room. I like to be in the back and work the buttons and stuff like that. So 9 out of 10 times, if I speak, I try to speak something powerful, or I'm not really going to say nothing at all most of the time. Unless it's something powerful, then you 9 out of 10 times are going to see me working something.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to say a few things and I'm going to throw it back. Anybody that wants to join the panel, drop your email in the chat and I get you on. Jaquel, I just sent you an email. I'm going to send you a link. Look out for it. If you don't have it, let me know. Once upon a time, my brother, now I'm going to talk about me now. a while back, you know, when I got to know DS1 and stuff like that. I'm not gonna get into it in YouTube, but he sees something in me because at that time I was a voiceless one. I was somewhat lost. I'm not talking about family. When I'm talking about this, I've been doing this for a long time, but I got sidetracked. But I want to make a point. I just want people in the chat work with me here. But what happened was this brother D to that's the one. He invited me to his platform because I was telling him things when I used to do in the community, and it helped prepare me that because he see a spark, he sees something in me. So I had to come without this voiceless ones, lost ones, because that's sometimes we lost. When we voiceless, sometimes we lost too. And then it helped me to prepare to do the things what I want to do. And at the same time, for me, I gotta be in alignment with that. I gotta take time to change within myself. So that's why I had to open up my mind to greater things. I had to open my mind up to do things. That's why you see me, I'm in my channel, I'm in this, I'm in that, and everything. Because I want to put myself in a situation, put myself in that. And one last thing, I'm going to throw it back at you, my brother Dollar Skills. Sometimes, and it goes for our people, we want to be leaders at times instead of being team players. See, when you talk about you don't mind being the back, that's what I'm talking about, brother. I don't mind being a team player. It's the way I feel. If you talking about, I'm just saying an example, you see, yo, brother, we need to move this commerce so we can have more economics, we can have more political power. But this how I feel. If your idea is going to help prepare us as a people to be part of this human race to act on it, the key is, are we willing to be team players? I fall back to be a team player. I'm still playing ball. I'm still playing ball. And sometimes that is the problem too. We want to be leaders, but at the same time, we missing the bigger point that we got to move as a people. Sometimes being a leader at times of certain situations is not good. But if the other person got it, if they have that mindset, I'm talking about the black man or the black woman, if they have that mindset that, yeah, we're going to move as a people, let's go through that. It's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a less than a person. To me, it makes you a person that's wanting to grow, that wants to see the betterment of our people. And that is the problem too. A lot of us do not want to be team players. A lot of us do not want to sit in the boardroom and make sure that things go right. We got to be so personified in the front. Look at me. Look at me. Instead of being in the ballroom, I don't care wherever ballroom, be in the ballroom and make it happen. I could do that too. Sometimes I like doing stuff like that. It brings joy to me because I'm impacting our people. I'm impacting humanity at the same time too.
Yeah, no doubt. I was saying that. I was saying that's what you're doing. I mean, you really already achieved that, and there's more to achieve. But through info activism, it's one of the most powerful tools in modern society. If you're talking technology, you're winning already because you're speaking to the masses. These videos stay uploaded on YouTube, and unless they crash the server and get rid of them, they'll sit here forever. They're priceless in a time capsule. So I think you've achieved that, and I agree with you totally because really the home team hashtag is something that I pushed in the community, you know, and people got mixtapes and they doing their thing with it. But I always been cool with being a team player. Like I'm not really, but I could interface. I could lead when it's time to lead and be a team player when it's time to be a team player. That's just me. But I don't have a problem with sharing. I've never been one to be selfish. I'm about, like, you know, like you said, that camaraderie. and really the brotherly love. That's the aspect that a lot of the overall community lost. Like dudes don't really love their brother; they hate their brother for whatever reasons, and a lot of cats don't want to hash their situations out. But that's not neither here nor there. I'm cool really with everybody. I don't really got an issue with people. Some may have it with me, but I'm about the home team. You know what I'm saying, or the co-workers, as we say,
Right.
trying to work together to build a common goal and uplift, like you said, first our people and then humanity as a whole. Because you can't just uplift your people. If you just uplifting your people and you're not thinking about the next man, then you already screwed up. It's a fine balance between the two. But you doing that though. You know what I'm saying? Just having me on your show, and it's not like I'm special, but you already know you're the second show that I've been on outside of my brother Israel Doctrine and Sheep Stay Sleep. So you already winning in my book because I see what you're doing. You know, I like the vibe of the platform, and especially the sports show. I was telling you, that's like using your voice because in this sector there's not a lot of people who have a consistent sports show. Other platforms touch on sports or sports news at different points when they're hot topics, but the consistency of the sports show every Monday night and things of that nature, you're doing it. You showing other people that yeah, you don't gotta be like everybody else, but at the same time, you could open up your platform for your brothers, and then yeah, let's get it popping. Good brothers come together and push their ideas. You can't lose with that. You start on the right foot, you always gonna win.
I appreciate that, and trust me, Dog Skills, and you know somewhere what I'm talking about, and DS1 know, and No Live and everything. I come a long way, brother. People think, oh yeah, this doesn't happen. No, it didn't happen like this overnight. I had to constantly stay on the positive thing and build and build and build because I know what I'm made of. I know what it is, but at the same time, I know I had to reach out the voices ones that the one that this system that sad thing about it that's killing our voices, humanity, and I got and that's this fire that it brings to me. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. Because not everybody's not going to get it. I understand that loud and clear, but it keeps me going. And coming from you, brother, it means a lot to me because that sometimes I always tell people that says sometimes when somebody do good, I'm not saying blow their heads up. Sometimes a nice little saying thing, that goes a very long way. Because sometimes all of us we do sometimes I get discouraged sometimes because I know what I'm doing. And listen, I'm not saying I'm not looking for people like I'm looking out for views. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that. But I know what I'm bringing is the truth. I know what I'm bringing. I've been through it. You hear what I'm saying? And then I'm just trying to educate people. Listen. Underrated Doctor's been through that. I don't want you to go through that. I'm gonna show you how to go about it. And in this certain way that help you that I didn't get. You hear what I'm saying? So when we do that, we coming out the bad part of the voices was. We start opening our heart and our spirit. Because if we hold our spirit and our voice, you becoming the voices one. What's the sense of saying anything? What's the sense? It don't mean nothing if you hold it within yourself. So I appreciate I appreciate what you say because it means a lot to me. Anybody want to come to the panel? Feel free. I got you. Okay, J Dog, let me know you want to come to the panel. Big Dick Dolomite, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Latanya Jones, thanks for coming. And but Dog Skills now, I want to talk a little more about the badness of the voices ones. And whatever you want to bring to it, go right ahead.
Well, I guess I'll stick right to where I started. I mean, it's just understanding class. The bad ones, if I sum it up, are the people who are divisive against groups of people, be it commercially, to take away their interest in their labor, or to even cause physical injury. You know, the killers, the robbers, the stealers, um,
Yeah.
all of those different legal terminologies. Um, those who take abuse to other people because of indifferences. Those are the bad people, and a lot of them are voiceless because they're a part of the problem. They're helping to manipulate. I guess I'll sum it up in the prison industrial complex.
Right.
We live in a society where mankind as a whole has not come up with a way to quote unquote survive without taking a specific group of people and robbing them of their labor, their political power, and their capital, and drain their current in order to, in their twisted version of reality, keep the world going. Mankind as a whole has not found a way to find an equal playing field and not get into racism, classism, and all of these different things.
Mm-hmm.
So step number one, I'm gonna say that the bad voiceless people are the people who have a voice to speak out against that and don't use it, and those who specifically stay quiet about it and push more negative agendas to keep more division, be it internally within the black community or outside that.
Okay. Yeah. Go more. Your point is all about. Um. For me, it's like, see, every day I get up, brother, I always look in the mirror. Yo, JT, what you gonna bring to the world today? What are you going to do when you get on that bus or you walk and say, yo, you see our people in despair? Are you willing to take a little time and talk to them? Are you willing that because see sometimes when I cook dollar skills, and I don't think I told you, I don't think anybody know, but this one I told you this one about it. Sometimes if I had extra food, like if I have like a plastic plate, like a plastic plate or plastic fork, sometimes, or sometimes if I have like a big thing of aluminum pan, I put everything in it and I just give it to the less fortunate ones. They say, you give, yeah. What you want? I just want you to survive. I will pray for you. I want you to survive. There's people say, once you put that on, you should have put, no, I don't want, no, I'm not, that means I want to expose people. No, I ain't all about expose people. No, no, it's not about that. So my thing that I want to do whatever I can to help our people plus humanity. And and for me, that's what I want to do. I was put on this earth to do this. I fully believe that. And Hidden Treasures Entertainment. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much. J Dog, I see you. You right here. All right, cool. And that's what it is, my brother. And I appreciate your existence. J Dog, we gonna talk. Introduce yourself to my brother Dollar Skills.
Hey, how's it going? I'm J Dog. Nice to meet you, Dollar Skills.
Peace, peace.
Yeah, I'm just about to prepare to do some videos, and I might try to do a live stream in the future. Um, so, but I guess I could stop by real quick. Um, um, First of all, I'm going to show you an icon. Show you my J Dog Live channel. I'm probably gonna say something. It's gonna say and the icon is gonna be J Dog Live because I'm trying to get people to subscribe to that live stream because that's what I'm going to be doing most of my live streams. And one reason is because when I did my main live stream, they actually got rid of the video. Remember when I was showing y'all? You were there. Underrated Darkness, JT. I guess when I was showing the trailers to the movies,
Yeah.
they accused me of copyright claims, so they had to remove the video. I didn't get a strike, but they removed the video. So I might gonna have to do another live stream on black films. The difference will be I will not show trailers, but I will leave links to trailers because I'm actually gonna do multiple live streams and videos on upcoming black films. Like, as you know, next week, Sorry to Bother You comes out, and hopefully I want the movie looks interesting, and I hope people go and support that movie. The reason why is because I was watching Tariq Nasheed's one of Tariq Nasheed's videos, and he talked about the Black Panther film and the success of the Black Panther film. One thing he said was that the Black Panther being the only successful black film of 2018 and beyond is not enough for black films. If something like the Black Panther, and even if the Black Panther wins awards, the true success of the film is going to come from the success of other black films. The true purpose of the existence of the Black Panther film is going to have to come from the success of other black films, regardless of what we think of some of these black films. Um, because that's the only way we can make a mark in Hollywood. Now, I'm not saying try to go to every black film because we know that we've seen films that put us in a negative spot. I was happy to find out that Superfly failed in the box office. But I do want films like Creed 2, The Black Klansman, the Spider-Man film, even and the Sorry to Bother You to be successful. Those, and maybe even Uncle Drew. Now, Uncle Drew is basically just, old guys playing a basketball game and stuff. But I would rather have the stereotype of pro athletes than the stereotype of drug dealers, pimps, and prostitutes. And hopefully you agree with me on that one, Under Darkness.
Well, J Dog, let me ask you something because this is my first time, and I see you speaking on a lot of black films and different varieties. Is that what your channel specifically focuses on? Are you focusing on critiquing all of the black films specifically, or is your channel dedicated to more of a variety of topics?
It's dedicated to more variety of topics. However, because in the past I've been doing mostly just news articles. I have been trying to get more positive stories and stories on upcoming film projects. I um I'm also was recently talking about independent projects. As you know, a couple of my videos talked about these recent um, Kickstarter campaign that was very successful. It involved a DVD release next year or a pilot of an independent project called Black Sands, the movie. It's inspired by the Black Sands comic book called Kids to Kings, from the independent black owned independent comic book, which is Black Sands Entertainment, and Kids to Kings is inspired by ancient Egypt, but this time you have the correct representation of the Egyptian people of ancient times, which is people that look like us, not the white celebrity Hollywood. I mean, you still have black people that live in Egypt. You also have Arab people or brown tannish Arab looking people in Egypt. But the problem is that Hollywood would pick actors and actresses like Elizabeth Taylor to Christian Bale to play Egyptians. You'll get a few black actors to play some of the Egyptians. And what Hollywood doesn't realize is a lot of people boycott and protest those films. Even some critics bomb those films because of the incorrect representation of the Egyptian characters.
Okay.
So this guy by the name of Manuel Goldie decided to create Black Sands slash Kiss the Kings with his comic book company. It has become a successful comic book. He was at a festival where he showed a motion screen comic book episode, which actually got praised by almost 200 million people, and now he's trying to do a feature length film for at least DVD. Now he was trying to get more money to see if he can get maybe a big screen. I seriously doubt he'll go that far, but if hopefully he does if he wants to. But he at least wanted DVD. I donate some money, so hopefully he'll be able to. But that's another story. But yeah,
Okay.
as for Black film itself, it's been one of the couple things I talked about in a couple of my videos. Then I also talked about not only just going to the movie financially, or I mean, of course, it has to make money. Another thing is using websites, critic sites like Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, TV.com, the IMDb, and becoming basically personal critics.
Okay.
Basically, what is because some of these you see Rotten Tomatoes scores. You have one for critics and then one for everyday moviegoers like us. Cinema Score is another one where you sometimes they will actually go to theaters, get you these little pamphlets, then you just rip like maybe a grade symbol. You keep one loose and then the others stay together, and the one loose is the grade you get. I figured that the reason why more black people should be involved with using those websites is because we can use that at least that to bring our voices of what we think about some of the black films and show more support by giving more black films approval ratings by us putting positive reviews that their approval ratings in the audience score at least, or and if we happen to be some professional critics happen to watch, can basically affect the approval rating and help with black films that show us in a positive light. But also, we can also use that same platform to go after any projects that put us in a negative light and actually get enough people to join together to dis but put bad ratings on a project that puts us in a negative light, like for example Superfly. You saw that on Rotten Tomatoes. If you go on that website, you will look that critics hated the film because it was lower than 59% approval rating. It ended up with a splat, and the audience hated the movie because it was below 59. It got a green bucket of popcorn spilt. That means the majority of audiences did not like the movie. So
Okay.
that's another thing that I talk about. I got plenty of videos on my main channel, which is you probably see the icon of in the chat room. That some of those videos talk about the critic website strategy.
Okay. All right. Cool. But do you see the topic the voices was and the good and bad? Let's discuss it now.
All right.
Okay. Now what now? I want you to blend in the voices was about the movies that you talk about. The voices was the good and the bad. Let's discuss it now. I'm talking about black movies, but let we want to and dollar skills. You can get in it too. That's my concern.
Yes, movies in some way and television shows the image of people, and sometimes those movies could bring out messages or subliminal or up in your face of what you think is considered a person or place or community as a whole. Movies and media ends up causing people, when people look at media, they end up getting sometimes a mindset of the reality of the world. if you show more black people as criminals, rapists, prostitutes, uh, or rap artists. Now, I'm not saying something's wrong with rap artists because they like if they like music, making music, they want to use maybe to entertain. I mean, there's nothing wrong with entertaining, but what you have to be careful with is that ends up putting a mindset about a certain group of people. Then you got movies that will make us to athletes or coaches for teams. And then you got movies that will make us into superheroes or ministers or doctors, lawyers, police officers, politicians. And sometimes, depending on the character, whether if it's a crooked cop, he's considered the bad character. That puts us in a negative light. For example, Training Day, or you could be the maybe a good cop who's trying to do the right thing. Example, Rush Hour.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, yes. Movies have a way of expressing uh what society looks like.
Well, let me add a little bit to what you're saying, because when you talk about it in light of like Hollywood and how it portrays quote unquote black actors and the ways that is manipulated, I would say it's kind of like that's speaking on the effect. Getting more, in my opinion, to the cause would be back to what we were speaking about earlier, which is social engineering. Most of these ideas are started in like college think tanks, where you have a bunch of college kids sit around and they think of ways in order to create different scenarios socially through different mediums like entertainment, and all to feed a system, the prison industrial complex. So you have political agendas and major corporate capital that's pushed first into the college think tanks who come up with these formulas. Then that trickles into places like Hollywood. And again, the main reason it's pushed on the black community in that manner is to fill the prisons for free labor. So now your channel, like going back to why I asked you what your channel does, the way my brain works is your channel would be a hub to maybe change that by taking all of these different mediums and hubbing different ideas and ways how the critics would look at these black films and then create groups and push people to write letters and push the politicians and take their dollars out of different marketplaces in order to make the bigger corporations and the think tanks change the way they socially engineer the films that come out of Hollywood.
That is correct, sort of correct. Yes. If we support more independent black films, now of course, Sorry to Bother You is a sci-fi style comedy, but sometimes even comedies can tell stories. The upcoming movie Sorry to Bother You talks about a guy who works in telemarketing and he uses what is called a white voice because he thinks that's going to help him get sales and basically, get him to the top. It's talking about the consequences of selling out. See, we need to also look at movies that talk about what happens if you're one of these black people that end up selling out your own community or selling out yourself or pimping yourself out. That's what the movie Sorry to Bother You is. And it's actually kind of a very good film. I haven't seen it yet because it's not in theaters yet. It's supposed to be in selected theaters this upcoming weekend, and then it's going to be released everywhere on July 13th. It
Okay.
basically it talks about the consequence a man trying to do everything for his girlfriend and his family, but sometimes he has to do things that he may not agree with, like, and basically it talks um, about what happens to black people in the workplace if they act like themselves. they may not go as far. But if they use a white voice, or basically the reference to thinking white point of views, they can get somewhere. I think it's important we watch this movie because we need to understand what black people go through in the work business and what some black people are willing to do to get ahead and how hard it is to work in the work business.
Okay, I want to. There's somebody ask you a question, my brother. So it says, what are your ideas about creating your own media project image for the people? That's to you, J Dog, and then we're gonna send it back to you, Dollar Skills, and talk about the positive that we can get out the voice was of dealing with the movies, our movies.
Well, first, let me tell you, I'm not a movie expert. I just like movies a lot. I'm just a regular guy. My day job is a janitor. But here's what we could do is, first of all, we use social media like YouTube. We use black owned platforms like Black Junction and Black Spot. Basically, sometimes if you have to, you'll have to basically go to film school, get an education, go use that education to go to film school, and um, see that is if you want to advance your expertise in media even farther, or create something using your YouTube channel.
Uh,
Um, that's one thing. Yeah. Go into educate. When I was in high school, I went to TV production. I wanted to be more involved with TV production, so I took the TV production class, and hopefully one day I will go back to school and go into to production.
okay,
Um,
And
yeah.
for me to add on to that, like how could we achieve those goals? I think JT was asking with the voiceless people. What he was saying kind of lined up what I wanted to say real quick, which is that now I think the next question is, do we depend on Hollywood to distribute our media, or do we take the power into our own hands? Because like he was saying, education wise, back to my first point, now the media and the technology is there where we can make our own films. Now, do we
That's
have big enough media outlets to push them? Maybe not now, but if you create the right hubs and stop depending on them to push your media, and utilize the technology that's there now, man, the cameras. I remember just being in the hip hop community when like shooting a video cost $1 million. Guys like Hype Williams and those type of people would charge $1 million to shoot, like, let's say, like a Janet Jackson, Busta Rhymes video, a 4 minute video for $1 million. Now the technology is to where you can do your own editing and get the cameras for a lot cheaper. And a lot of the ways to distribute media is done differently through the internet. So it just depends. It depends on who you're dependent on. Are you trying to create a political party to move legislation and change it from the core structure of where movies are pushed from? Or are you trying to create a grassroots guerrilla marketing style hub for black entertainment and try to create new platforms to push entertainment in derision to the places that normally push those things? So
well, exactly. Well, of course, eventually it's gonna have come to a time where black people are going to have to create their own film studios. You got people who have film studios and social media outlets that are black owned right now. But the next question is, how are you going to get the finance? And then, most importantly, will the community, or any community, especially the black community, will come in to support you? Uh, Getting donations, getting your finance, and then also your education and stuff like that, and
yeah,
actually create.
but
Yes.
but see, this the question that I want to, and I don't, Dollar Skills, I don't want you to think, y'all think that I'm getting off the subject. Just work with me here. I'm talking about the voices one. This here. It goes to show, like I'm talking about Spike Lee now. Now last think about 5 or 6 films. He didn't have he had no
That's good. He had no.
Hollywood backing. He didn't have to, so he had to come for the people. But there are some out there that do have talent in out there, and they do reach out. They do reach out, but it's still not enough. Now, how do and Dollar Skills? I want to put it to you first. Then we're gonna switch it back to J Dog. Then we gonna go back to a few things deals with the Voiceless ones too. Now, how do we push this, my brother, to get those the ones that's in the back and that is trying to get it, trying to get their message up. I'm talking about positive message that deals with our people and plus humanity that they are searching. You hear what I'm saying? So Dollar Skills, I'm throwing at you because you in this room for a long time, so you better quit. That's what I'm asking you, my brother. And J Dog, you can finish it up.
Yeah, well, let me say this. I wouldn't claim to be the expert, but if you were asking for my honest opinion, it
Yes,
deals with
that's what
foreign
I'm talking about.
yeah,
Yes.
it deals with foreign marketplaces. See, it's where does capital flow from? And this is back to the education. If you're talking to me about commerce, I look at the United States as a corporation, and then I look at the tiered corporate system from here to the British Empire, and then on to different factions within the European Union, and how that branches out into Africa and different countries. So the biggest thing is really looking at things from a foreigner standpoint, which is hard because it's a extroverted way to look at things. Most people only care about what's going on around them. They don't think about the foreign aspects of politics. So when you're talking about getting financial backing for movies, you might want to think about looking at foreign markets and trying to create relationships overseas, because where certain corporations in the US might not fund you, you might be able to go overseas and get foreign capital behind certain films and do things like you spoke about with Spike Lee, where he didn't really go to a lot of the Hollywood brokers to push specific films. 9 out of 10 times, that's pretty much probably what he did. He went and got foreign private capital to invest behind ideas that maybe some of the brokers in Hollywood wasn't trying to push because it didn't fit a political agenda. So step one for me would be to branch out, even with, and I've tried to kind of push that from my position as a chat mod on Israel Doctrine and whatever I could lend at different times to platforms, which is we lack in the so-called this sector of YouTube, which is a group of channels. I wouldn't even call it the conscious community, but just this sector on YouTube where there's a certain amount of channels that when I type that channel pops up. We really lack an international news outlook. I don't really see a lot of people. I see people do news coverage, but focusing more on foreign news and understanding that corporate structure of the United States and knowing how capital flows. So when you're trying to get funding, you're running to the wrong place to get it a lot of times because people lack education on where to go outside of the general places that are promoted to go to get funding. So step one, I would look at the foreign markets, foreign investment strategy, to try to make changes in the way media is marketed here in the U.S. That's if you're talking U.S. politics and you're talking pushing certain media for the U.S. If you're talking on a more global, broader scale, you're definitely going to have to look at those markets because you're going to have to cater in your films or in your media to different things that might not necessarily coincide with the outlook for a U.S. citizen or an American, so to speak. But yeah, foreign capital investment is the number one way I would look at anything if you're trying to guerrilla a market that's already oversaturated. You got to get private investment from someone outside of the general spectrum in order to push your ideas and have any standing inside of these type of situations.
Okay. Okay. J Dog, finish up. Then I'm gonna jump on about politics, the voiceless ones, the good and the bad.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming back to me. Oh, by the way, in the comment section, I just said that this icon is my live stream channel Hopefully, if y'all have some time in the chat room to go subscribe to that live stream channel.
Okay. So the
But
hold that
now,
hold that thought. Subscribe to the brother J Dog Live.
this one of my channels. This is one of my channels. I have like multiple amount of channels. This
Okay.
is one of them. This is for my live stream. I might put other channels in the future, maybe in this one or future live streams. Now, yes, like what Dollar
Oh,
Skills is.
hold that thought, J Dog. Hold on. I want you to hold that. Cause my sister Nerlip, she made a good point. She said we need more scripts for a new market. That is an excellent point because I was getting ready to go into that, and that's going to hit home with politics too. But I'm gonna hit that in a few minutes. And like I say, I want you to finish up on that. And the dollar skills, I want you to hit that point and like that, okay? And then we gonna hop on politics. I'm sorry about that, J Dog. I just had to throw that in. What to say? That's an excellent point.
Dollar Skills said that we need to reach to our people outside of the America that are black like us. Like, um, he's talking, for example, as you know, in Africa, one of the biggest movie outlets of Africa is in Nigeria called Nollywood. It's a growing movie industry in Africa, and there's also some industry in South Africa. In fact, the Black Panther was released in some African countries for money, so that to show a brand new market in Africa. That's exactly what we should be doing. Is we need to start reaching to markets like in Africa. Did you know that countries like Uganda, Ghana, and Nigeria are trying to reach? There are some people in those countries that are trying to reach to Black Americans to come over there and maybe work business, because especially in South Africa, you know, you have the EFF and stuff like that. They're trying to reach out to Black Americans to help out because they're tired of working with the white man, the Chinese man, the Indian. I'm not saying all their business is bad, but they want to work with more Black people. Yes, we need to reach out to our African brothers and sisters. We need to reach out to our Black Caribbeans. We even need to reach out to our Black Canadians, to our fellow Black Canadians, and to the Black Europeans. And that's will grow the diaspora of the Black people, of the Moor people, the Moors, the Africans, the other blacks, the Afro-Caribbeans, other blacks and stuff when it comes to businesses if we can't get our businesses. And yes, the we cannot always depend on Hollywood. Spike Lee, when he was working on Malcolm X, Warner Brothers and other sources of studios in Hollywood tried to cut him off because they did not want him to finish the film. But it was people like Bill Cosby. That's why another reason why they went after Bill Cosby and others were willing to help fund his movie. Birth of a Nation was also funded without the backing of Hollywood. But when he wanted, that's why they also went after Birth of a Nation, because Nate Parker didn't always had to depend on Hollywood to create his film. Now, eventually, he tried to get some distributing with the help of Fox Searchlight, but that was nothing more than a trap to sabotage the movie. And then they end up bringing up Nate Parker's past. So you have to be careful with working with Hollywood. But yes, there are some projects that even make it to movie theaters that are not backed by Hollywood, like Tariq Nasheed's 1804 and Hidden Colors, like Jason Black of the Black Authority, Jason Black. He has an upcoming documentary called Race War. Before that, he had one called Gentrified. And then before that, he had 7 a.m. You don't see his films in Rotten Tomatoes is because they're not backed by Hollywood. It also comes with the will power of the community, the willpower of getting the money to work on these films, the willpower of the people coming together to work on these films and to create a film industry. There's a YouTuber by the name of POV Hilarious D. He dreams of creating a black film industry. He's among the few people that is not a celebrity that wants to create a black film industry. He's working on a project called Dark Chaos, Maze of the Universe. By the way, POV Hilarious, subscribe to him. Uh, just type in the search engine on YouTube, POV Hilarious D, and then you'll might be able to find his channel. Subscribe to him. He is trying to do a lot of projects. He wants to do a film called Dark Chaos, Maze to the Universe, which features a dark-skinned black female superhero film. You don't see a lot of black females in the leads of superhero films. This guy, and now he wears a black mask and everything, but he's a good guy. I mean, because he does a little comedy or somewhat. He talks about anime. He talks about his film project. He talks about white supremacy. Even though white supremacy, let's face it, white racists are not supreme. They should not be called supremacists because they're not supreme. They're white inferiorists because racists are inferior. They're not superior. But POV Hilarious is creating this black female superhero project, and he's used his own money to on working on this project. He even has a teaser trailer that he made last year, released it last year. You might have to mod me so I can show you the link, but just look up POV Hilarious or just type in Dark Chaos Maze of the Universe on YouTube search box, and then look for the teaser and say Dark Chaos Maze of the Universe. That you'll see 2007, the teaser trailer. Y'all can check it out for yourselves, and then make sure it's on his channel, and make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's been talking about his film project. He has no backing from no big movie studio like Hollywood or mainstream Hollywood. It also takes, like I said, it takes the will to work on projects without the backing of Hollywood. And it's people who want to get in the film industry who don't think they need Hollywood. That's what's going to have to take. It's going to have to take willpower and us coming together to support projects in from black creators.
Well, let me say this because I want to make sure I still keep and do the brother JT justice and go back to what he said so we can speak on the politics. Of course, none of this was scripted. This was an open panel discussion, and salute to you, J Dog. I threw you a subscription. Um, I think the sister did make a good comment because it has to do with narratives, and that term runs around in our sector of the community a lot. We got to create new narratives in order to interest those foreign markets. Because when we make films, we tend to cater only to this national black community's interest. We don't push films that look at foreign countries and how quote unquote black people operate within those countries and then write it into our film narratives so that it may interest other people who are melanated in different markets. And me, I'm not really speaking on that from a supremacist standpoint. I'm saying it just from a general business standpoint. If we're talking melanated people films, then the best way to change the way that they're funded is to change our paradigm on what we're portraying in the films and adding in some other ways at which our people interact with each other in foreign countries so that when we're presenting these films in film festivals or reaching out to get funding and things of that nature, those foreign investors can see how it fits in with their marketplace. And we got to look at that as one of the key reasons why a lot of the films that may be good films in the quote unquote black community here don't get pushed because they don't really cater to foreign markets. And it could be very subtle.
We
It's
have
like
to control the narrative.
Exactly.
We have to control the narrative of the media. We have to create our own media, and then we have to control the narrative of the media. mainstream media is trying to take over, and if we're not controlling the media, then the stuff that you talking about, we will not be able to do. We have to control, and then the white owned media will be able to control the narrative, and that's not good. That's why we have a lot of black YouTubers, and we have Black Spot and Black Junction, and why we have Qualiv TV and others, and why we have channels on YouTube where we could talk about stuff like this is because if the mainstream media tries to do something that puts us in a negative spot, we could use these platforms to come back at them. Um, in other words, try to find a way to fight back against the mainstream media, and then most importantly, control the narrative of the of Black people.
Exactly, and I'll give a good example. It's like the difference between, like, if I went and studied the African market or African centered market in the nation called Africa. It's the difference between putting a Pepsi can in a scene and maybe a specific brand that they use in Africa. And now we're talking about marketing and cross branding throughout the film, or even looking at the films, like you said, they have Nollywood in Africa, looking at their films and finding ways to blend the scenarios that we create in our films here with those markets, and then pitching them overseas to different investment platforms that would look at those things, and it'll spark their interest because you took the time. Let me tell you something that I learned throughout being in the music business. When you take the time to study another person's culture, it goes a long way. Like the time that you take to learn about somebody else's culture will help you to win in any marketplace, or just even in general. It's like knowing another culture, if you traveling overseas, to save your life, because you might be in a scenario where over here that's cool, but that don't rock over there. So I implore our people to study other cultures, because when you understand other people's cultures, they'll get behind your projects, believe it or not. It's just a communication barrier, because a lot of the times Americans or Black Americans or all of these different factions of melanated people in this landmass, they look at us as people that don't care nothing about them. So a lot of the times our signals get crossed. But if you show them that you studied a little bit about their culture, they'll get behind your projects. And if you learn their culture, you can intertwine them in your narratives, and then you can win the masses that way.
Another thing we have to do is we need to start doing more traveling to the Caribbeans and to Africa. Even if it's
Okay.
just for fun, even if it's just a vacation to have a good time. I'm going to Jamaica soon. I'm with with my parents and with my brothers and brother and sister and everyone else who is going on this Jamaica trip. We I'm we need to start traveling to our to the Caribbeans. We need to start traveling to Africa and stuff.
Okay.
That's another thing. We need to start doing more traveling, even if it's just for vacation fun and stuff like that. Then
Okay.
you have some people who will go to these trips to learn cultures and stuff, and then most importantly go to these trips to do business with Nollywood and or with the EFF or with businesses there, and creating a black business here, and maybe doing some work with Africa, or just traveling just for the sake of traveling to see what it's like to travel to a different country, see what it's
Okay.
like outside the United States.
Let me say this. I don't want to oversaturate, but I actually agree with you on that, because I think cultural expedition is something that I'm going to add to what we were speaking about in the beginning of the show when I said education is one, and that's a part of education. But our people need to try to find ways to come together and go on trips and study other cultures,
Mm.
because when we could do stuff like that, we can come back and look at. See, because what happens is social engineering screws us up. We start to take on narratives, back to the term, that are not necessarily true. But if we can all go out on cultural expeditions together and see certain other cultures together, it'll change the way we view a lot of things, and we can come back to the table with a cleaner mindset. So
Yeah.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah, and then one thing now I'm gonna drop this point, and then we're gonna go about the voices ones about politics. It could be regional and globally. I know when I was with the ex in New York, we used to go. I went on. I think how many? I think I went on like about five cruises, and then I learned a little about our culture, and I learned about how people react, how certain policies go in, and stuff like that. Sometimes it could be depressing, and sometimes it could be very very enriching. And I urge brothers and sisters, if you have money, take a flight to Africa, take a flight, or go on a cruise. Go on a cruise. You can learn a lot about our culture globally too. And you will see you sometimes you will see the interaction. You can see the depression. I'm not gonna lie, the policies and stuff like that. Like even like social media, they don't talk about that and everything. But you will see that. Now we're gonna this is what we're going to want to talk about. The voices ones, the good and the bad, about politics. Because you know they're playing a viral role now. The good and the bad of politics. Um globally. And dollar skills, you can set it off.
Well, again, this is I'm always run back to. I guess this is going to be my paradigm, education. Because
Right.
when you ask me about politics, again, definitions of terms. Politics deals with poles, north and south,
Right.
current, and then now I start to take the first level of politics is agriculture. It's the way that water flows in motion across a riverbed, bringing mineral resources to different areas for irrigation purposes, so that the people that we're talking about, be it black, white, yellow, green, survive. Because without crops, we can't eat. So when you talk politics, the first level for me, it's agriculture. Now, if you want to look at that, then you can start going up in the sky and look at it from astrology, because where you farm based on the sun in different locations. So when we talk about politics, we're dealing with poles. Now, that then goes into different interests when it comes to Democrats, Republicans, and the ways at which commerce or current or labor flows within a system across a river bank to a mine. See, so I'm looking at politics as the way that commercial interests flow, where the people move. Do the people find more comfort in living in big cities across the coastal plains, or do they want to move more inland to the agricultural parts of the country where you spend more time farming? So now this is what manipulates or has a current role in politics, because that's what it's all about. Major cities and farms. So how does it affect politics? Because you have some people that want to keep everybody living in major cities so that they can use their labor current based on the city life in order to generate revenue. And then you have others who believe it's smarter to move the people away from the coast and get them back to the agricultural rights of things in order to develop and build more infrastructure for the growth of society. So when you ask me about politics, I start to spin it into a whole bunch of things, but generally it's dealing with current, motion in the flow of water, or electricity, north and south.
Right. I know for me dollar skills, and then you would know this in the near future, Nerlin, because Nerlin she was this Nerlin was really encouraged me to talk about the labels and the food and stuff, and say what I do. See where I'm at in Virginia, they they get ready to close down this farmers market, and so what I do now, I encourage
I live
people.
in Virginia too.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, we get to that if we close. But what happened? What I do, dollar skills, and the people in the chat, I want you to understand this. When you don't have farmers market, also with dollar skills, talk about you have to know the legislation of agriculture wherever you at, because it's different. So, but what I do, dollar skills, like when I shop for myself. I read the labels. And it goes by 0, 5, whatever, that's pretty good. I'm not saying it doesn't escape about wherever we put in and everything, but I educate myself by doing that because I learned about a certain legislation of agriculture. I educate myself. That means family. If you have kids, that on disability or whatever illness it is, you have to learn to read the label, because sometimes they could say it's organic. It's not means it's organic. So we had to educate ourselves how to read label, how to read milligrams, how to read grams, how to read sodium and the percentage of it.
Sugar. Don't forget sugar.
And sugar and all that. So I show people how to read that, because it's very, very important in our family. Because wherever I put in my body, I show that when I do my lives on Sundays, because I eat and also we fellowship. So that's what we have to do. We have to, and also part of that. That's part of the show of the voices one, because sometimes the kids don't know. You have to show the kids that have voices up the agriculture how to read it. So when they get older, they would know that, because there's a lot. See, in agriculture, especially in our community, they cut out a lot of farmers market around us and everything. We don't have nothing to fall back on. How to read, how to see how the meat is, what the color of the meat is, the vegetables. See the vegetables. See the serial number on it. Stuff like that. That's what we have to do. So what we have to do, we have to educate ourselves. And that's important, Dallas, because that's what JT, that's what I do, the underrated darkness. So I encourage people, when we talk about agriculture, but listen to what Dallas Skills talking about, listen to what I'm saying, even listen to J Dog talking about, and even the people in the chat, because it's very, very important, because we have to know other steps. How, when we eat the food that is close to eating healthy.
Now let me flip it real quick. Let me flip this upside down real quick, because we dealt with it, I would say, on the carnal side of irrigation and learning how to farm through agriculture, and that's the politics. But let me flip it upside down. We also got to learn how to irrigate our hearts, because that's the main politic. Because if our hearts is pure, then even when we're put in scenarios where we have people who control the way we eat, the food won't have the same effect. That's my opinion. Meaning that you got a lot of people eating vegan, but their heart is corrupt to the core and they're wicked.
Facts.
So on one side, they so-called eating good, but the food is having no effect. If we irrigate our hearts, then that's the best way to address any politic, because it starts on the inside and then it manifests from the inside on the outside. So definitely irrigation and farming, if you study agriculture, it'll help you to be applicable for science with the polls or politics, even with Congress and legislation, because that's what they're dealing with. At the end of the day, the federal government has to feed the people from all of the different farms that the government has taken over. So every single day, you got people in politics waking up, figuring out how they're going to make sure that the corporations that ship the food get to these different farmers markets, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all relative to the topic. But to flip it upside down, we got to irrigate our hearts first and find the ways to take in the right things in our heart, and then we can manifest that and really deal with it from the right perspective.
Yeah, you're right. Because it's so funny, what I learned from cooking is really from my late father, because he was a chef. And then also, my mother's side of the family, they also great cooks too. They really from the South. But I remember this Dallas Skills and J Dog and the people in the chat. I remember that like that's how I was raised as your witness. So I seen say certain foods and said, Mom, I remember my father said, nah, this not good. It's not good for the body. How do you know this is not good for the body? That's not what I ordered. Okay, you told me you want me to feed good food.
Exactly. There's a lot of misinformation even on the food.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Let me say this real quick, so because it complements that. If a person ain't right up top or in their heart, right, and they're giving you all this information on food, then there you have
it. Right. So go more your point. And I remember my father, he said, because at that time I knew how to cook, but I wasn't cooking all that much. I was a teenager. He said, this is what you gotta do. You have to find out. You gotta know what ingredients, you gotta know who made it, because it goes into your food, it's gonna hit your heart, hit your body, and everything. It's so funny when you brought it up, Dog Skills, because my father made a transition 29 years ago. And then that is still, he instilled that in me. And that's why you know, he pick out his own meat. And my late father only had 5th grade reading level down south, but he picked his own vegetables. He's look at the meat. He look at the green. He said, "Real." That's what I really learned from reading green for him and my mother. My mother's still living, and he said, and I never forget. He said, "Educate yourself because they not going to do it." You remember you talk about the system? I said, yes, Dad. They not gonna do it. So you have to. So you have to be a step of them. So when you go to these meetings and stuff, this is good for them and everything, and you got to empower them. So that is an excellent point, God Dollar Skills, because you in alignment with my father. My father was showing me and everything, and that's a great point. And I want people to understand what he's saying and stuff like that. So that is very important. Okay, on that line, J Dog,
Yes.
on what we talk about.
Um, Basically, is we're gonna have to learn how to do better with learning about certain products when we're eating them and stuff like that. Otherwise, you're gonna get a lot of health problems, and that's why I've been starting to really try to start losing weight and stuff like that. Because being with high blood pressure at a young age, yes, um I really need to start doing harder on losing weight and stuff like that, because this could lead to very bad situations as your body ages when you get older and stuff. It also can affect your mental health and stuff because of eating habits. I'm also a person with autism and stuff like that. That's why you have to be careful with it comes to getting these vaccinations when you're going to the doctor and stuff. The guy who they claimed killed himself, well, we know in reality was really a murder that was done by the CDC. He was trying to warn people about the flu shots and why you should not go ahead and start doing these vaccinations and stuff right away, because they can also damage your body even if they're meant to prevent the flu. Sometimes when you take these vaccinations, you don't know the side effects that could happen to your body. We see a higher rate of autism. I should know by experience. Even though I talk like a normal person, you will not know just by not seeing my face if I have a mental health disorder or a learning disability. You will not know that. You the Also, when you're eating the GMOs, that's what can also cause stuff like this to happen. Um, the You see the high rate of diabetes in the black community, the high rate of high blood pressure, the high rate of even health issues that are helping mostly mental and stuff like autism and stuff like that, ADHD and stuff, because you're doing these vaccinations that might not be safe, or you're eating these GMO foods and stuff like that can mess with you. So that's another thing that we have to be careful with.
Okay, I'm gonna be here in a few more minutes, then we're gonna close it out. Now, Dollar Skills, that everything you say, you right on point. How do we get this information out to the voice? I'm talking about our community now. Then in a few minutes, then if you want to elaborate on humanity, you more than welcome. How do we get this information out for the rest of the masses of our people, the ones I'm talking about who don't know?
Well, I'll say this. I mean, not to be off track, but on track. I mean, you watching us do it with Israel Doctrine. It's grassroots guerrilla marketing. Hashtag,
Hey,
hashtag. Guerrilla marketing. Like, share, subscribe. Post that on your Facebook. Post that on your Twitter. Set up your groups and get it in.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now it's the World Wide Web. You in an open market. It's a free market on the net. even though there is some manipulation when it comes to numbers, if you ask me, with YouTube,
Right.
and the way that they partition different channels and things of that nature based on algorithms, sit down and learn how to change the wording of your titles so that you can find algorithms that'll take the information further. Start groups on Facebook. Guerrilla marketing. Hashtag, 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 hashtag. Look at the bottom of your channel. You're doing it already. Keep the narrative the same. Stop switching up and riding the coattail of everybody's narratives. If you got a real issue you're trying to push, stick to it. Keep revamping it. Find new ways to introduce it. But go hard or go home. So that's the best way to do it. And trust me, like, I started a radio platform some years ago, terrestrial, out of a studio garage with some brothers of mine, and I made it into a worldwide terrestrial radio station. How? Grassroots guerrilla marketing. Don't be afraid to reach out to celebrities and tell them you got a platform. But see, a lot of people got to clean their shit up, because a lot of celebrities might not want to touch platforms if they deal with certain things and topics. But reach out. You on the net. You can get on Twitter right now and at any celebrity or any person in marketing, even some politicians. Don't be afraid to do that. That's what I did. That's what I'm doing. So definitely, if you want to push anything, and I'm gonna always say grassroots guerrilla marketing. It starts with you. Don't be afraid to use your cell phone and copy and paste and get it popping. And when other people see you start bubbling, trust me, people will come. A lot of things can be done through a bartering system. You don't always need money to get things. You might have an orange and I got an apple. And I want to have an orange today and you want to have an apple. So you can barter different things. Get the platforms tighter. Because when you got numbers, other people will want to push their products on your platform, and then they'll put your narratives on their back and take them into bigger arenas. So that's the way that I would go about it.
Got you. All right, got you. My thing is, matter of fact, J Dog, you can say something within a few minutes. Then I'm gonna close it out. I'm gonna make my. Well, hold on. Excuse me. My sister Nerlip, she be in Israel Doctrine. My brother Don Skills. She put the hashtag. I urge everybody to copy that hashtag. I'm gonna put in the chat again. Is all right. I want you to look at that hashtag and put it in. And wherever, like, you doing any live or whatever it is, put it in. Let's make it happen. If we want to get the Voiceless one to be as a whole, let's start right now. So it's gonna start from me. So I'm gonna follow Nerlib. I'm gonna put this in there. Let's do it. Because the time is now, family, like I said. All right? All right. So all right, go ahead, J Dog. Follow up what my brother Don Skills say. Please, thank you. Chaka, thanks for coming.
Yeah, it's time. I guess what he's trying to say is it's time for Black people to start doing for self. Yes. Yeah, basically we need to start supporting more Black businesses, using more Black-owned social media like Black Spot and Black Junction. Start supporting us for once. We don't have to always, if you have a Black business that we or at least just support something that has a lot of Black people involved with, even if so and so, yeah. I guess that's all I gotta say.
For me, Oscars, is there anything you want to say, brother? You can go say it. And I want you to stay right there when you make your last remarks, but I want you to say something. Greatly appreciate it. And I want you to go more of this powerful hashtag.
Yeah, it's grassroots guerrilla marketing, man. I mean, I really don't have much to say. Like, this was a good experience. I got a lot of love for you, JT, because you've been a brother that I've watched with DS1. Salute to him in the chat. That's my good brother. Y'all some good brothers. It's a home tizzy thing or home team thing. We all from NY, though you're in VA, and I think DS is down south. But it's all love, man. And yeah, man, this was just on the fly, you know. And I like to get on other panels where maybe it's a little more scripted, but I think when we kind of go this way, it allows for us to jump around. So I ain't mad at it, and I got love for it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, tell Dollar Skills that all my channels have just subscribed to him, even if he doesn't have
Okay,
videos.
he can hear you.
Yeah, I just subscribed to you.
No doubt, I'll subscribe back. Like I said, the live thing wasn't really for me. It's not something that I plan to do, but if I ever do, definitely will reach out. But you know, hit me up, man. I'm open to build with people as long as it's on some real something real and something that's going to benefit the people. Then I'm all for it.
Okay. Now I'm gonna pick a hashtag out. I'm gonna pick a hashtag out, and I want people to copy it. Okay, I feel this is gonna go with what we talk about. Matter of fact, I probably pick, yeah, the other hashtag. Yeah, yeah, I gotta get that too. But family, this is what I'm saying. That I'm glad that Dollar Skills have blessed me, and people in the chat. Like she stays sleep. Dollar Skills on chocolate, and the rest of your IC. I want you to understand that there is a voices ones out there. There are hidden Jews, and we got to reach out for them. If they're not willing to understand that they need to educate themselves, you know, that's on them. But we have to try, people. We have to broaden our thinking. We cannot handicap our own mindset of the voices. We cannot do that because it's hurting us and everything. And I want you to hold on tight, Dollar Skills and J Dog, because I'm gonna copy this thing. Let me see which hashtag I'm going to do. You know what? I'm gonna copy down my new hashtag that I created of my last live, and I want people to think on it. And you want to copy it down? Feel free. It'd be very much appreciative. You copy it down.
Yo, let me say this too, man, and these may only be my views. They might not reflect JT's views, but I know he's the fam. So I do want to shout out Israel Doctrine, and definitely people support the Dat Boy movement, because that's something that's real. That's not YouTube satire. That's something real. I won't get into all the in-depth stuff. There's all kind of videos on it, but please support the What Happened to That Boy movement, because my brother Israel Doctrine is a big reason why I was able to meet Sheep Stay Sleep and JT. So I gotta big my bro up and try to help his movement as well, because a lot of people don't like certain things he does. But I'm gonna tell y'all from my personal experience and the knowledge I have on it, it is a real situation, and please support that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I want to big up that shout out to Israel Doctrine. Please support the brother. He's for our community. He never was afraid to talk about the illness of the community. Also encourage. And then I know people be saying I don't like what he's saying, but he out there, you know. And I think yeah. And sub to my brother Israel Doctrine Reload. And look at the hashtag. Brr, what happened to that boy? 2013. So I want you to copy that down even before I'm gonna end this and everything. But support Israel Doctrine. He also talked about spirituality, talking about the cultural part, the social content, what's going on, everything. I don't know what people calling me for, because I'm in this groove here. I'm not gonna let, but support the brother. Israel Doctrine Reload. All right? Support it. You know, if we're gonna all about being about to impact our community and get the ugliness and the stupidity out of our community, let's help Israel Doctrine do that. Okay. My channel, She Stay Sleep. Dollar Skills, he support Nerlens to support Israel Doctrine. I want you to go to his channel, wherever they chat, they be in there. They had excellent information for us. Let's take advantage of that. That's all about us, all about taking ourselves of the bad mindset of the voiceless ones. That's what it's all about. Look at my hashtag.
Let me mute myself real quick.
Look at my hashtag. Copy that down. Home team all day. Thanks for subscribing. Very much appreciated. And the ones that subscribe to me, I want you to subscribe to everybody in the chat too. That's very important. Let's engage with each other. Let's sub, but also participate. Let me repeat that again. Let's sub and plus participate. And that's very important. Well, I'm going to read this out. And Dollar Skills and J Dog, I want you to stay right there because I'm gonna make your last remarks. And after that, I'm gonna make my last remarks. Y'all stay right there. And I'm gonna close this powerful live stream out because it's all about y'all. It ain't all about me. Nerlin, as always, my sister, thank you so much. Sugar Bay, thank you so much. Miss Danielle, come back. And Sugar Bay, come back. Thanks for coming. I see, as always, thank you for your participation. I'm sorry, Miss Danielle Sugar Bay, pardon me. Cap P to Y to the 2. Thank you so much for support. Come back. Mimi Down, as always, thank you so much for your support and your contribution. Come back. Thank you so much. Zeus, the flipper one. Always a pleasure, my brother. Thank you and come back. Jaquel Thomas, he got my last name, so that's my man. Thank you so much. And you know, look out for the brother. Subscribe to the brother. Thank you for so much for your support and your continued contribution. Also, I met him at Israel Doctrine. You know, Israel Doctrine got a big family, Raw. Don't sleep. All right. I'll get to you, Dollar Skills, in a few. See. Mary Ford, thanks for coming, my sister. Nikki, thanks for coming. Very much appreciate. Come back. K Black Kick, thank you so much. Shout out to the LDBC. Hashtag LDBC. Thanks for coming. So support my brother. I said again. Scaredy Cat 73, thanks for coming, my sister. Come back. Very much appreciate. Latanya Jones finally got to you in the chat. Finally, you came. Thank you so much, my sister, for your constant support. Another sister support Israel Doctrine. So go to Israel Doctrine. You will see these people. They bring excellent content, and also they support. So support my sister and come back, my sister. Welcome to the darkness family. Welcome to the darkness. Ronald Freakley, my brother. As always, thank you. Shout out to him, part of the LDBC family. Thank you so much. Let me see. Anybody else? Good brother Rob, as always, the educator in our community. Thanks for coming, brother. Thanks for showing up. Very much appreciated. Get you J Dog in a few. Big Dick Dolomite, as always. Thank you, my brother. Hidden Treasury, Entertainment, and more. Thank you so much, my sister. Come back. Omar Herpes, thanks for coming. I hope you come back. Sure. Let me see. Carl Burrell, part of LDBC. Thanks for coming, my brother. As always, for your contributions. Come back. See who else? Okay, now we're gonna get here. She stay sleep TV. Thanks for coming, as always, my brother. Thank you, as always. Very much appreciated. 1224529. I know who you are. Thank you so much, my sister. Come back. Nerlive, as always. Ebony Knowledge. Thank you so much, my sister, to come. I hope you come back. All right, let me see. I sub to you. Let me see. I sub to you. If not, oh, all right, I got you. Okay, I already sub to you. Okay, come back, Ebony. Now. All right, all right. Let me see who else I got. I think I got Twilight Zone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sub to me. Thanks for sub to me. Very much appreciated. Okay, that's it. Okay. First thing from a J Dog. Your last remarks, and after that, Dollar Skills, and then I will close it out of my remarks.
All I gotta say is thank you for letting me once again enjoy your chat room. Well, your Google Hangout. Thank you for once again inviting me on the panel. Hopefully, y'all come to my live streams, and basically, maybe we could talk about, have discussions, and everything like that. I just because I cannot give you links because I'm not modded. Hopefully, y'all see my icons in the chat room of channels. But once and for all, thank you for inviting me to your panel. And I hope we continue having more discussions and talk about all kinds of different topics.
Yeah. Well, before you get on Dollar Skills, I might come with another live tonight. I might have an engagement. I don't know what it is. That's what this person called me. I don't know what it is. But if I do not, if that engagement do not go through, most likely I'm gonna do another live. I said about another.
Might do one myself. Might do one tomorrow. I'm not sure about Monday, and I might even try to do it on the 4th of July or something, and of course next weekend as well. Okay. So I'm planning on doing live streams on different things and stuff too.
Okay, yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, J. So,
all right, I'm about to go now. But once again, thank you for inviting me.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Before you get on Dollar Skills, like I said, create grassroots guerrilla marketing. Hashtag grassroots guerrilla marketing. Copy that down. Let's make a show. All right, Dollar Skill.
Yeah, man. I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Of course, you said all of their names, but big shout out to Nerg Live. Of course, she supports with Israel Doctrine. My brother from another Sheep Stay Sleep definitely gets a shout out. All of your mods that are, have been gracious to have me on the platform. Shout out to all your mods. Last thing, we've been pushing another thing, but I think this is a little bit more for the community. We call it the NCO, New Community Order. It's an open forum. It's not a dictatorship. I think we'll be holding panels on Israel Doctrine Reloaded coming up, where people can give ideas on better ways for us to work together on YouTube to see that everybody eats and everybody narratives could be pushed on different platforms and nobody is really left out. So also support the New Community Order. We call it the NCO. I got mad love for you, JT. Please subscribe to him. If you're listening to the stream later, Dollar Skills advocates that you subscribe to Sheep Stay Sleep TV. That's my good brother. And of course, shout out to Uncle Suge. I know he does a lot of stuff with you guys. That's another good brother. So, support to all of y'all. And thank you for having me on, bro.
Thank you. As always thank you to my brother again, Dollar Skills, Latanya Thomas, Nerlip. They be on Israel Doctrine and support my brother Israel Doctrine Reload. They bring, they starting the movement.
Oh, bro, last thing, Why Tanya, my sister Why Tanya. Shout out to Why Tanya.
Why Tanya, yes. And my hashtag being with the sharp eye of truth. Hashtag being with the sharp eye of truth. So part of the voiceless ones, if we don't want to be the station, we're gonna have that sharp eye of that truth. So I want to thank you again, Dollar Skills, and everybody have participant of the channel. Another powerful lottery. Share this, hit the bell. And the ones who subscribe to me, thank you so much. And always remember, the dark is always going to bring it. No matter what, always going to bring the truth. no matter what. And always remember, I'm the world-rounded Chef JT. I'm not just chefing in the kitchen. I be chefing up the information. And on that note, y'all be safe out there. And I am Ghost.